China's overcapacity has become a particularly thorny issue amid the current global economic downturn, greatly impacting global production chains, especially in industries such as steel, new energy vehicles, and solar energy. The latest news indicates that China is also experiencing an overproduction issue with rare earth elements, leading to a significant drop in international rare earth prices. At the end of June, the Chinese State Council announced the Rare Earth Management Regulations, taking measures to strengthen its control over this strategically important resource. They explicitly stated that rare earth resources belong to China and that no organization or individual is allowed to encroach upon or damage them. Despite the protective measures implemented by Chinese authorities to increase control over rare earth resource development, the domestic rare earth market in China has long been on the decline. For instance, the price level of companies like Northern Rare Earth Group High-Tech and China Rare Earth Resources and Technology have become out of balance. Northern Rare Earth Group's net profit plummeted by 94% in the first quarter of 2024. Due to the increasing production share and overproduction of rare earth elements in China over the past year, international rare earth prices have fallen by about 20%. Data from Argus Media indicates that as of July 18th, the prices of rare earth elements neodymium and dysprosium have dropped about 23% and 24% respectively compared to the same period last year. Currently, the market generally believes that rare earth elements are no longer as scarce as they used to be, and prices are likely to continue declining. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has been trying to play the rare earth card for nearly half a century. In 1992, former CCP leader Deng Xiaoping once said, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earth elements." The CCP has attempted to use rare earth products as a trump card against the West to elevate its international status and fulfill its ambition to dominate the world. General Secretary Xi Jinping even considers the supply of rare earth elements as the last mile towards success. However, to the disappointment of the CCP authorities, China's rare earth elements have ultimately been sold at dirt cheap prices. On March 1st, 2021, Chinese Minister of Industry and Information Technology Xiao Yaqing said that due to vicious competition, China's rare earth elements are sold at earth prices rather than rare prices, resulting in the waste of valuable resources. Despite Beijing's continuous efforts to strengthen control over the rare earth industry, the market remains sluggish. Data from the U.S. Geological Survey in 2022 showed that although China's rare earth reserves account for 34% of global reserves, its output accounts for as much as 70% of the world's supply, with over 90% of the world's rare earth supply coming from China. The whole world has long relied on China's rare earth exports, and China has viewed the extraction and sale of rare earth elements as a gold mine, an important source of foreign exchange reserves. Now, with the sharp decline in China's rare earth prices, China is losing its once proud monopoly on the rare earth market. In fact, China's rare earth elements do not have the same influence as Middle Eastern oil. So why has it come to this? Analysts believe there are three main reasons. First, the inefficacy of the CCP's rare earth policies. Second, the international community's precautions and avoiding risks against the CCP. And third, the global demand for rare earth elements is not that high. In 2019, after the U.S.-China trade war began, the U.S. imposed a trade embargo on China, significantly slowing down the development of China's semiconductor industry. China's People's Daily once wrote that the Chinese people would never agree to the U.S. using products made with China's rare earth elements to contain China's development. They also stated that China is prepared to restrict rare earth exports to the U.S. as a countermeasure. As the U.S.-China chip war escalated, the enraged China authorities finally implemented countermeasures against the U.S. last year. In July 2023, China announced the Export Control Law of the People's Republic of China, imposing export controls over rare earth elements gallium and germanium and several others. From a global production perspective, China accounts for the highest share of these two materials, at 90% and 68% respectively. Gallium and germanium are important materials in the semiconductor industry and are essential for accelerating chip speeds. Voice of America commented that Beijing's export control of rare elements has a limited impact, describing it as a weak bargaining chip in technology and trade negotiations with the West. The commentary stated that although gallium and germanium are listed as critical minerals by the US and the EU, and China leads the world in their production, it does not hold an absolute monopoly. Why can China use these rare earth elements as a trump card to make Western countries submit to the CCP? Because while the extraction of rare earth elements mainly occurs in China, it does not mean that rare earth minerals are exclusive to China. In fact, rare earth elements are actually not that rare. According to the 2022 ranking of the top 8 countries in global rare earth reserves, China ranks first with 44 million tons, followed by Vietnam, Brazil, Russia, India, Australia, the United States, and Greenland. Australia is the 5th largest country in terms of rare earth reserves globally, with about 4 million tons, and it is also the 4th largest rare earth producer. The United States' rare earth reserves are 1.8 million tons. Due to the extraction and refining of rare earth elements releasing a large number of toxic chemicals and radioactive waste, causing serious pollution to local water sources and soil, the natural environment is destroyed. Therefore, rare earth mining in various countries faces strong opposition and resistance from local residents. Not only that, governments are very cautious about rare earth mining, with strict environmental protection laws and regulations making extraction difficult and expensive. But China is different. The Chinese government does not share the same concerns as the West and does not care about the environmental impact of rare earth mining. As long as it is valuable and can be exchanged for money, they will vigorously exploit it. They will provide substantial subsidies to promote the aggressive mining of rare earth elements, making Western countries lose competitiveness. Some Western countries choose to rely on China's rare earth supply instead of mining it themselves. This way, they can avoid environmental and economic risks, maintain trade relations with China, and reduce trade deficits. Rare earth is a general term for 17 chemical elements in the periodic table, including neodymium, germanium, gallium, cerium, and others. In the new era of technological revolution and industrial transformation, rare earth elements are considered strategic mineral resources. They are often referred to as industrial vitamins and the mother of new materials. It can be said that industry producing televisions, mobile phones, cars, camera lenses, batteries, satellites, lasers, radars, sonars, night vision systems, missile guidance, jet engines, and armored vehicles all rely on rare earth materials. But rare earth elements themselves are not actually rare. The New York Times once reported on the cost of China's rare earth mining. The report stated that in northern China, near the border with Mongolia, radioactive toxic substances leaked from 20 years of continuous rare earth refining production have been slowly seeping underground, approaching the Yellow River, an important water source for 150 million people. In Jiangxi province, located in south-central China, the central government has reclaimed control of rare earth mining areas from local authorities. This action was taken because they discovered that illegal open-pit mining has severely damaged the local environment. Baotou City in Inner Mongolia, known as the capital of rare earth elements, has 87% of China's total rare earth reserves and accounts for 58% of global production. Due to poor management, rare earth mining has caused severe pollution to local water sources and soil. Western media have pointed out that Baotou has a high cancer incidence rate. Reports indicate that the current state of Baotou resembles a ghost town, with thick smog from air pollution, discolored lake water, and deserted industrial mining areas once heavily guarded. Locals have relocated, and not even a single bird can be seen, giving the city an apocalyptic feel. In June 2012, a WTO white paper written by the Chinese government detailed the environmental damage caused by the Chinese rare earth industry. Despite the embarrassment for Beijing, the white paper stated, overexploitation of rare earth elements has caused landslides, river blockages, sudden environmental pollution incidents, and even major disasters, resulting in significant losses to public health and the ecological environment. Residents across China are dealing with severe environmental destruction caused by almost unregulated rare earth mining and refining activities that have accumulated over the past 20 years. The Chinese government has begun investing billions of dollars to address this damage. The Chinese government has ordered some state-owned enterprises to shut down refineries in Baotou and rebuild the huge Bayan opal mining area in the Gobi Desert. According to Chinese media, tens of thousands of livestock, such as sheep, have died in the area, and many lambs were born severely deformed, likely due to radioactive pollution from the rare earth industry. In contrast, rare earth mining in Western countries has stagnated due to environmental pollution disputes. Australian rare earth company Lynas has faced accusations of environmental pollution for years at its processing plant in Malaysia. In 2019, Australia refused to accept 450,000 tons of radioactive waste from Lynas' Malaysian plant, sparking disputes between the two governments. In the United States, rare earth mining at the Mountain Pass mine faced federal investigations and local lawsuits in the 1980s and 1990s due to radioactive waste discharge, leading to fines and compensation. Due to the high environmental costs associated with rare earth processing, Mountain Pass rare earth elements were sent to China for processing. It was not until the US-China trade war began in May 2019 that the US started establishing domestic rare earth processing plants. The Chinese authorities have seized upon the reluctance of Western countries to mine rare earth elements, thinking they could use it as leverage. Last July, Beijing introduced an export licensing system for gallium and germanium, and on December 1st, added several types of graphite to the export licensing list. On December 21, 2023, new regulations were introduced banning the export of rare earth magnet manufacturing technology. Beijing initially believed that this punitive regulation would lead to a reduction in international sanctions and embargoes against China. However, it has observed a tepid international response and begun to take remedial measures. Nathan Pekarsek, co-founder of Horizon Adversary, told Reuters that China's restriction on the export of rare earth magnet manufacturing technology is a clarion call that dependence on China in any part of the value chain is not sustainable. The European Parliament also passed a resolution in mid-December 2023, significantly increasing the EU's self-sufficiency in critical raw materials and stipulating that dependence on any single foreign country should not exceed 65%. The EU is working to reduce its reliance on Chinese rare earth elements by diversifying the supply chain. It launched the European Raw Materials Alliance (ERMA) and passed the Critical Raw Materials Act to ensure the supply of strategic raw materials. The United States is also actively promoting the localization of rare earth supply chain to reduce reliance on China. The U.S. government is investing in domestic rare earth mining and processing facilities and collaborating with their allies to ensure supply. Tesla, the pioneer of electric vehicles, has also announced plans to reduce or eliminate the use of rare earth materials in new electric vehicle production. Japan has increased supply diversification by investing in Australian rare earth companies and formulating policies to ensure stable supply. South Korea has implemented the Core Mineral Resources Strategy to manage core minerals related to national economic security and expand reserves to mitigate supply disruption risks. The Australian government has invested a large amount of funds to support domestic rare earth mining and refining technology research. To reduce the risk of rare earth elements being controlled by China, Australia has strengthened foreign investment reviews and reduced Chinese-related capital shares in rare earth companies. The Economist magazine believes that China's use of rare earth card in the trade war with the United States will highlight the vulnerability of relying on a single supplier. This will prompt the US and other major rare earth importers to seek new supply channels and research related technologies. In retaliation against US and Netherlands sanctions on semiconductor equipment and technology, the CCP has tried to manage and limit rare earth exports. However, this strategy is a double-edged sword and has led to international pushback. Besides finding new partners, significant investments are being made in researching rare earth substitutes and recycling technologies to reduce dependence on China's rare earth elements. Nowadays, international imports of Chinese rare earth elements are starting to decline, and Chinese rare earth prices have lost their competitive edge. At the same time, anti-dumping measures by Europe and the US have limited the production surplus of Chinese solar products, electronic products, and electric vehicles, leading to a rapid decline in domestic demand for rare earth elements in China. According to Nikkei Asia, over the past few years, the CCP has continuously increased rare earth production quotas. In 2023, Beijing added a third set of quotas on top of the quotas for the first and second half of the year, bringing the total annual quota to 255,000 tons, a 21% increase from 2022. Many believe that this year's quota will exceed that of 2023. When increased production and reduced demand occur simultaneously, it leads to the current situation of overproduction in China's rare earth industry, forcing sales at lower prices. However, some believe that the CCP's overproduction of rare earth elements might be a strategy to squeeze the profit margins of Western producers and prevent the development of alternative sources of rare earth elements. A report by the Chinese Rare Earth Society indicated that for years, developed countries like the US, Japan, and the EU have acquired most of the core patents for rare earth materials through leading fundamental research, effective result conversion mechanisms, and continuous technological investments, and have long set patent barriers that limit China's export of functional materials. In terms of components, high technical thresholds are used to restrict Chinese products. The report states that China believes this is the main reason why the country's rare earth elements can only be exported at relatively low prices, while high-priced end products, especially key components and parts, must be imported. Industry insiders suggest that China's weaponization of rare earth elements, aiming to monopolize them to control global affairs, will only backfire. Since the 18th National Congress of the CCP, Xi Jinping has repeatedly mentioned the last mile problem, which refers to the last hurdles before reaching his ultimate goal. China once issued the Made in China 2025 plan to integrate the rare earth industry, hoping to use rare earth elements as a crucial material for advanced manufacturing and seize a rare opportunity for transformation. However, critics argue that China is playing its rare earth card poorly, in turn causing environmental destruction, health issues to the general public, and ultimately reducing Chinese rare earth elements to dirt cheap prices, wasting tremendous efforts and resources. Industry experts also believe that the CCP's dream of monopolizing rare earth elements to dominate the world and achieve Xi Jinping's last mile goal is unlikely. They believe the Chinese authorities should first address pressing issues such as economic recession, business closures, mass unemployment, environmental pollution, and the general struggle of the people, which is much longer than just a one last mile problem.